territory, the Seneca Nation, the Cattaraugus territory, the Alligator territory, a little further south, about 30 miles south of here. Then we situate our ancestral lands here across Nowhere. Very honored today to share a few words. The beginning of today, as we move forward with sharing some of our lands and stuff. But before we start, it's custom on the Haudenosaunee and many Indigenous nations across the world to share an opening story. And the Seneca language or the what it represents is not quite the Thanksgiving we'll have soon with the turkey and stuffing and cranberries, but more along the lines of giving thanks for everything that we coexist with in our world. And I'll begin with a short version of that. And so that was a short version of our Thanksgiving address. And in brief translation of that, basically what it represents is that we give thanks collectively and the spirit of working together to the things that we appreciate in our world. And it begins when we speak about giving thanks to our health and well-being. And that's part of why we're here today too, is to honor our Native American heritage and ways of life and our Indigenous knowledges, but also collectively working together for the health and wellness of people. And so we're part of this system too. It isn't just us as people, but we belong to the earth in many ways too, and then we coexist. So they give thanks for starting at their level of the earth and the grasses, for the animals, for the fish, all these things that help us in our ways of life, for everywhere. For the things that we eat, they come from somewhere, and it's usually something that we need to give thanks for. We go on to talk about our waters and then into our kind of winds that clean the earth, provide the air for us, and that we collectively, and you hear that kind of rhythm to it, that we're all collectively giving thanks for all those things, one mind together in a good way. We talk about the stars and the celestial beings and things in our celestial worlds too, from the sun, the moon, all these things that coexist with us that make us who we are and continue our life ways as people. And we respect that and honor that. And a lot of our ways of life are wrapped around that. our practices are wrapped around that. And many of us at Indigenous, our life is wrapped around that, whether it be work, the way we carry ourselves, and the way we honor ourselves, our families, and communities. And so with that, that's the way we start out every day. For those that are learning how to speak, we may not be able to speak that, but we are always thinking that and using that in the way we carry ourselves. So now, next I'd like to introduce Counselor Woman Abrams to join me today. We appreciate your encouraging words about health, wellness, and partnership building. We very much look forward to working with you and thank the nation as time continues. Counselor Woman Abrams.
Namaskar. Good morning, everyone. I'm truly honored to be here today and humbled to have been asked to deliver some remarks. First, I thank everyone here at Roswell for the kind invitation and for everything you do in our community, including Dr. Candace Johnson. I would also like to recognize Dr. Herring, Will Mabey, and their team for establishing the Center for Indigenous Research. The Seneca Nation Council executives are extremely proud of the work being done by Dr. Herring's team, and we look forward to working together to strengthen the health and wellness of our people and our community. I would also like to recognize the many doctors, nurses, clinical and research staff, and everyone who makes Roswell the outstanding community leader and partner they are. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up in Western New York on the Cattaraugus territory near Irving, and I have lived on the Allegheny territory for more than 35 years. For the past 20 years, I've had the honor of serving the Seneca people as elected member of our nation's council. I have been the council co-chair for the last 10 years, being the first woman co-chair. In addition to the many roles I play within the Seneca community, I've also been a member of our local Cattaraugus County Planning Board since 2003. And I've been recently selected to serve on the board for the Niagara Falls Memorial Hospital, an institution which shares a strong partnership with Roswell. I'm also a wife, a mother of 3 children, and a grandmother to 8 grandchildren. I'm not here today to talk about my professional background. I'm here because I have personal connection to Roswell. My family, like so many families, have seen and experienced the incredible difference that Roswell can make firsthand. In September of last year, my sister Lisa was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. Those are words that nobody wants to hear. The wave of fear and helplessness that washes over our family is something that we don't really want to experience. But thankfully, we had Roswell part. I attended all of Lisa's appointments with her as she went through rigorous chemotherapy and radiation. Thanks to her incredible strength and determination and the world-class care she received here at Roswell, Lisa was able to ring the bell this past June. She's cancer-free. She is my hero. She's a fighter. She's a strong Seneca woman. And thanks to Roswell, she is now a survivor. Lisa is one of many warriors in our Seneca community who have fought and or are fighting cancer. As you know, Native people are at higher risk for several cancers, including lung, colorectal, liver, stomach, kidney cancer, among others. Cancer is a disease that greatly impacts our Indigenous communities, and it is important to ask why. Having this research center that is led by Indigenous professionals is important. It helps build trust and long-standing relationships with all Native nations in our communities. For an institution like Roswell to have a dedicated Center for Indigenous Cancer Research shows tremendous public health leadership. I want to congratulate your team and Dr. Herring for the work you do to understand the dynamics behind the statistics to reach out to our Indigenous communities. As an elected member of the Seneca Nation, I hope to be lobbying to create future presidents for Roswell on our Seneca territories. What a powerful tool that could be in reaching, helping, and potentially saving so many Seneca people and families who need your help. Help navigating through that very first appointment, options for treatment, and finding research that may determine an outcome that can help others. I'm also here today as part of Roswell's Build Stronger Connections to our region's Indigenous community. Western New York has a strong Indigenous presence, not only with the Seneca Nation, but with the Tonawanda Senecas and the Tuscarora Nation as well. Yet by large, I personally believe that our region lacks a greater understanding of Indigenous people, culture, and history. Events like today can help bridge that gap, especially as we celebrate Native American Heritage Month. So when I talk about Indigenous people and our culture, what does that really mean? And how does that tie into health and wellness? The truth is you can probably get different information depending on who you ask. So I'd like to tell you my perspective as a Seneca woman. As Indigenous people, we have an unbreakable connection to Mother Earth. That connection is reinforced each morning when we take our first breath. We commit ourselves to making the best of each day. Our culture is filled with ritual, ceremony, each with a deep meaning that reinforces our connection to Mother Earth and recognizes the many gifts the Creator has given us, from the animals that give us food to the plants we use for medicine, as well as nourishment. The Ganyano, which Rodney read earlier, was our Thanksgiving address. You heard it earlier, and it pretty much says it all. In fact, so strong is our connection to the earth and to the nature that as Indigenous communities, our land and our traditional ways of life over the years suffered through disease, and our physical and emotional health and well-being suffered greatly. Throughout this, Indigenous people have shown our strength as we are resilient people. Through important partnerships with Roswell and through our own efforts, we are making important strides towards rebuilding stronger and healthier communities. It starts with recognizing your responsibility to yourself as well. I personally enjoy going for a walk almost every day. I feel obligated to make time for this. Sometimes I walk in our community, sometimes in the woods, sometimes near the water, or when the weather doesn't cooperate, I utilize our local community center. I also enjoy bike riding. I did this often in the summer, and I was so proud to be part of the Team Wheel Strong. We raised $12,000 in the Ride for Roswell in August. Beyond physical activity, nutrition is a key building block for a healthy lifestyle. Over the last several years, the Seneca Nation has been able to reconnect our community with some traditional crops and food sources through efforts like Food is Our Medicine program and our Gakuyo farms. We have learned to farm again. The mission is to address food security and sovereignty by producing healthy foods, employing quality food processing procedures, and making these foods available to the community members. At the individual level, we saw many people planting gardens during the pandemic and giving serious thought to self-sustainability. In my family, hunting and fishing are big areas of interest. We teach others how to take care and process the deer we hunt and the fish we catch. This past few weeks, my family was coordinated a workshop on both territories on how to skin, bone, and cut up deer meat. We also learned to take care of our buffalo at the Buffalo Ranch at Sunfish on the Allegheny Territory, which is new to our area. We also use the whole deer. When you cut up the deer, you can use all the meat for the community, you can tan the hide, and you can also use the hoofs. I've seen these in jingle dresses during powwows. My husband is a great bear hunter. We have black bear in our territory, and we use every part of the bear. Again, you use the hide, you use the claws for necklaces, but most important is bear fat. Bear fat is used through many salves that are made that can help with arthritis, bug bites, and poison ivy. So it's part of using every part of the animal, and our family's big on that, and we're teaching that to our youth now. It's important. Education, self-sustainability, and a reliance on respect for nature's gift, all grown in a fertile ground of our connection to Mother Earth. As Indigenous people, we have much to share and much to be thankful for. Today, I'm so thankful for this opportunity to share just a small part of who we are with you. And so I leave you with words of thanks and gratitude in our traditional Seneca language, Yahweh. Thank you for your time, your attention, and above all, your work and caring for our community and our region. It is through your work, Dr. Herring and Roswell, that so many people and families like mine will have the opportunity to make the best of another day. Thank you.
Councilor Abrams, your words are always so powerful and meaningful. We truly appreciate the efforts that you are doing for tribal government and building relationships not only here at Roswell Park, but among the Haudenosaunee and Iroquois Confederacy and Youngs. Next, I'd like to introduce the CEO of Roswell Park, Dr. Candace Johnson.
Thanks, Rodney. Thank you all for coming here today. So I'd like to recognize that we currently stand on the ancestral land of the Seneca and the Haudenosaunee nations. To recognize the land as an expression of gratitude and appreciation and a way of honoring the Indigenous peoples of the past, present, and future. It's just an honor to have Councilwoman Tina Abrams here join us. So wonderful to meet you and hear your perspectives on health and welfare as the leader of the Seneca Nation. We're delighted to have you. We have much to learn from their collective Indigenous knowledge, and we trust that Dr. Herring and his team will continue building Native nation to cancer research relationships that prioritize the strengths and research interests of our Indigenous communities. Although November is dedicated to recognizing the many contributions of Indigenous culture, I'm proud to say that Roswell Park remains committed to the health of Indigenous peoples year-round. Roswell Park will continue to cultivate an inclusive environment for all Indigenous peoples, colleagues, patients, and community members. Our Comprehensive Cancer Center's commitment to the Indigenous community is continually growing, not only through research, but through education, patient care, and community service. The Center for Indigenous Cancer Research is a newly dedicated initiative, and its success will be supported by the collaborative efforts of all Roswell Park departments. Together, we will contribute to the improved health and wellness of Indigenous communities. I encourage each of you to learn more about the history and current health research priorities of Indigenous peoples, not only here in Western New York among the Haudenosaunee nations, but to expand your understanding by also learning about the other over 500 Native nations across the country. To better serve all of our communities, we must dedicate our time to building a better understanding, and I can't think of a better time than the Native American Heritage Month to do so. So those are my prepared remarks, and I wanted to say something sort of from my heart. When we recruited Rodney, we were blessed to have him here, but his vision has really changed this institution forever. He's changed me forever, because he came with a vision of putting together the Center for Indigenous Cancer Research. Very thoughtful, obviously had to ask for funds to be able to do it. And he came to me and presented all of this. And I said, wow, yes, we're going to do this, and you're going to lead it. And I think from that moment on, we've changed Roswell Park, changed it for the better, because I think we're reaching people that maybe we didn't reach before. And it's what we should be doing. And I think the future is very bright for your center, Robbie. And I'm so pleased to be a part of all of this. So thank you all for coming today, and especially in celebration of the Native American Heritage Month. Thank you very much.
And our last speaker is an excellent colleague of mine from day one, who has done a lot of good work in the diversity and inclusion context within Roswell Park across Western New York, and is a leader across the country. And before I introduce him a little further, I just want to give a big yally and a round of applause to Dr. Johnson and being the champion for Indian country. In many of our lives, whether it be at home in our community, whether it's a student or in the workplace, wherever it may be, we always have champions that are there. And Dr. Johnson is certainly a champion, not only for Indian country, but for cancer care worldwide. And so we're very appreciative of the support, guidance, leadership in that context. David Scott, my esteemed colleague, been working with him for a number of years in the diversity office, so appreciate his efforts. He's going to share a few remarks as well.
Good morning. I hope you can hear me because I'm a very soft-spoken person in general, and it's an effort for me to speak up, so I hope that you can hear me. As the Director of Diversity and Inclusion at Roswell, I want to thank Dr. Herring and his team for partnering on this important event. And we have been partnering ever since I came here. I was fortunate enough to be on the search committee when we had an opening for his position. And what I have to say, he has exceeded all of the expectations that I had for the role, and I'm still so excited to continue to work with him. He's brought a wealth of knowledge to me and my team as well in the work that we do, and I'm forever grateful for the work that he does and the spirit that he brings to all of the work that he does. He's so passionate about everything, and that passion is palpable, and it spills over to everyone that he works with. So I appreciate you for that, and so much more that you do, Robbie, so thank you. We're all here today as Roswell Park colleagues who are invited to learn more about Indigenous peoples here in Western New York. This month and throughout the year, our office supports the team to help educate and inform both our colleagues and the larger community about resources and services available to Indigenous people and why these efforts are so essential. Dr. Herring will share more about the projects and services, and I hope we can all be good partners and share this information throughout our networks. Lastly, it's important for us to acknowledge that we now have a growing and diverse Indigenous staff population here at Roswell Park. We have colleagues from Seneca, Tuscarora, Navajo, and Mohawk nations. Each perspective and experience are unique, and we are proud of the people, programs, and processes that continue to help us to meet our diversity and inclusion goals. Our differences are our strength. I encourage anyone to reach out to our offices if you'd like to request a Native American cultural competency training to support your own diversity and inclusion efforts. And as Rodney has already done so, I would also like to thank Dr. Johnson for all the support that she provides for everything that we do as far as diversity, equity, and inclusion. She is a real champion, and she is expecting results from us, and we're not going to disappoint her. So I thank you for your vision, Dr. Johnson, as well. And Rodney, thank you for everything that you bring, and the team as a whole. You've made us better. Thank you, and have a great day.
I'm just going to share a few closing words as we prepare to go outside. And I know our singers and dancers are getting their stretches in and getting ready to sing and dance and share their knowledges with us. And, we're talking about outside how it's kind of rainy today. And some may say it's a gloomy, rainy day. Well, for us, we look at it as every day is a good day, right? The rain has a purpose, we have a purpose, the clouds have a purpose, so to us, to me, it's a nice day out. But again, I'm going to reflect a little bit back shortly on our development of the Center for Indigenous Cancer Research. And it was really at the beginning of the pandemic that we opened doors. And we had our grand opening on the same week that the world shut down. But we didn't shut down. Our vision continued, our work continued, our collaborations continued, our grant writing continued, our service to the people continued. And it really isn't without the excellent team members across all the departments at Roswell that really made that happen. But if you look over here to my left, if you guys could stand, and in the middle here too, is the members of the Center for Indigenous Cancer Research that really are key players in this whole. And as David Scott had mentioned, it's really a Haudenosaunee and Dene and Navajo effort because it seems like there's a Navajo in every community across the country, which is cool. But Navajo Nation has the largest indigenous population in the United States, nearing that of Hispanic Latino populations, if not more. So it's a very large population across the Southwest. And we're very honored that we have the opportunity to work together. And we each bring our own talent. And as David was mentioning, the diversity is really part of that team. It isn't just a diversity of skin color, but it's a diversity of knowledges, talents, experiences, and education, all wrapped together to really make things successful and meaningful. And as such, we've been really writing for grants over the last year since the development of our center. A couple significant ones coming through as of late are our patient navigation services that work with in the community context with community partners, Indian Health Services, and health-related organizations, not-for-profits, on territory and off territory across the Haudenosaunee landscape. All the way from northern New York with the Akwesasne Mohawk Nation, the St. Regis Mohawks, into Canada, and this way with the Seneca Nation, Tonawanda Band Seneca, Tuscarora, and our native urban partnerships. And even to the middle of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy with relationships building with the Naidin and the Dog. So that's a really important service context to really bridge our communities together in that way. And we discovered that by doing cancer care continuum talking groups in our communities to discover what was the journey like for cancer care. And I'll just mention Dr. Kate Glazer too as co-PI in this initiative from the rural side, working together. Because as you see that here, it's ironic that this slide comes up, but the Turo Wampo, because Swintalk talks about that relationship. And those two lines that you saw there, that one line represents a journey of a vessel, the non-native side, and the one side, the canoe of the Indigenous side, and that our lines are maybe parallel in nature, and that we have our own governance, our own health systems like Indian Health Service, so we have our own language and our own dances, and things of that nature, and as do others, and that we never intersect or interfere, but we're understanding that we need to work together in order to create health and wellness among our communities. And so through the development and the lead of many of our Indigenous communities led to that patient navigation system, which is one of a kind really. There's maybe two others in the United States that were in existence, one in Hawaii, one in Oklahoma, and there's one in Canada as well. But nothing across the Haudenosaunee, nothing in the northeast of that macro level significance. So it's an excellent service for our community. And then the research side, providing colorectal screening education through indigenized screening safe programs for community health outreach with Mr. Mabey, who's been doing a wonderful job. And our entire team is working together to make things happen. And within our existence of our center too, our communities shared with us three important things. And that's what we created our mission statement for the center around. One was, of course, patient care and understanding and service to the community. And whether it be through health interventions, health promotions, or care in our world-ranking hospital next door here. That's part of that picture of our center. But also the importance of bridging into our environmental context. And what's the relationship of all the environmental type things in our communities and what's in relation to the human condition. And we have a recent hire, Dr. Seneca, who's coming to assist our communities locally, regionally, and internationally in that context. We'll be presenting, or has presented in New Zealand this past week as well, virtually. Thank you for that. And then to complete that, is we have, our center is also based on the Haudenosaunee philosophies of the seventh generation, meaning that the things that we do today not only have priority to what we do here and now, but to look forward many generations. Research is part of that, finding new patient care, finding new medicines, new interventions, new ways to work with communities in a context that provides that picture many generations forward. So it isn't about the here and now. It isn't about just me or our center, but it's about the sustainability of those efforts combined and collectively for 7 generations forward. And those are the type of visions that we put into the work that we do in our research, in our patient care, in our education, and all these wonderful things that are Roswell part of, locally, regionally, and globally. So with that, I just wanted to say Niawi again for everybody coming out. It is a little chilly outside, and it's a little rainy, but again, it's a beautiful day. And we're honored to have the Tuscarora Nation send some singers over. Appreciate Corinne Abrams, part of our team member from Tuscarora, to help in the arranging of that. And so it's across the road at Kaminsky Park, and whenever you're ready and your jackets are buttoned up and your shoes are tied, we'll take a little hike over there and we'll introduce our dancers. Now.